It is now 1:02, so I think we'll go ahead and start. This is the CIP meeting for the planning department. I will share my screen. Going through existing bond funds. The first one is bikeway development on the bond sheet. There's currently 161,000 in there. We do have the Shawless Road Trail, for which we received some enhancement funds to match that. Right now, our estimates on the match amount is 133,000, so the majority of that will be spent as soon as we let that project very soon. The Chamberlain site, there's $3,000 there remaining from when we were doing some demolition and some cleanup. We're kind of awaiting the EPA final report for current cleanup going on out there to see what we want to do as we move ahead with that site. The comp plan update is underway with meetings having been held with various participants from the public. Now it's going to the Planning Commission, and we'll be starting to have some more smaller work session with department heads and council members as well as we move ahead in finalizing that update. Downtown development and property acquisitions. The 671,000 that is in there now, there's various things paid out of that. We do property acquisitions out of there. We also do some development grants out of there and the payment to Vanderwall every year. We have current commitments for the LSB project of 550,000 and some remaining on the Vanderwall contract as well. So the majority of that is committed. Historic survey, we have $5,575 in there. We do have 3 studies completed or near completion, and we're reviewing options for additional grants as we can for historic surveys throughout the city. Report road acquisitions, we had one there, so there's $71.08 remaining in that, so we can definitely switch that to another location, another fund. The Logan TIF, 80,000 we put in there for the Dunsmore House. We currently have Align Architects looking at an estimate on what it would take to rehab that. I just got some documents on that this morning. Preliminary numbers are about 200,000. So we'll be having probably a work session with the council on that very soon as I get a chance to talk to him and see how the council wants to move ahead on that. Martin Road TIF, there's currently $99,895 in that account. We do use that for infrastructure extensions out there on our portions of the land. Also, there's some private individuals doing some infrastructure extensions out there that we have commitments to. I think we have 100,000 committed to the Cedar Valley Crossing, which is the new development industrial lots down there at south end of Marnie at 63 and 20. The 5th and 6th study for potential changing back to two-way system AECOM contract was approved by the council in late 2020, so that is underway. The Northeast Industrial Park TIF, 757,000. We had a grant to control for some excessive bad soil conditions out there that we put in there. We've already paid them half, so this is the remaining half upon completion of the project, which is underway. Nuisance abatement, demolition and housing incentive bonds, we have 632,000. We have current obligations at about 523,000 for asbestos demolitions and housing projects that are out there. We are currently working on adding 10 to 19 more demolitions this year if possible. The Rath TIF has 13,000 in it. We generally use that for economic development projects, acquisitions in that area to clean up blight and to create buildable lots. TechWorks, 222,000. We have the IRD funding, which was originally at 8 million. Remaining portions of that in here. Then we have some funds in here to plat the land that we are taking possession of from the TechWorks campus for redevelopment purposes. So a total of, the telecom study, that was an original contract of about 65,000, I believe, and this is what is remaining on that. And of course, they are still finalizing some work on that. So expecting some more payments to come in on that. Overall, had about 2.7 million in existing bonds. I estimated at about 2.3 to 2.4 million are committed of that amount with things underway. Any questions on existing bonds?
No, Pat Moore here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm getting feedback here. But with the Dunsmore house and the 80,000 there, but estimated 200,000, what does that 200,000 include?
I can get you a printout of that. Like I said, I just got it this morning, so I didn't really have a chance to catch up with Marty Holst, the architect working on it. But it's basically going into what would need to be done to stabilize the house, and then improvements to the house, such as roofing and siding and windows and things like that are in disrepair or don't meet current codes.
Noel, does that include interior?
It would include some interior work probably for electrical and HVAC and things like that. It would not include like finishing out it or anything like that at this point.
Yeah, because some of those walls are just, well, some of it even doesn't have lath board. You know, it's just studs and that.
Yeah, it would definitely include finishing those out. I believe, like I said, I need to look at it a little bit further, but it generally should include finishing those out, whether we're drywalling them or sheetrocking them or something like that, different natures of how to do that to make it historically match if we choose to.
And you're going to have a work session for council on that?
Correct. I'm going to talk to Marty first to see everything that entails, and then probably try to set up a work session for council.
Okay. And then with the demolition part of it, that 633,000, and that's existing bond money. That includes 2022 or 2020.
That takes us generally through June of 2021. No, because the new bonds would become available in July of 2021.
Well, having been at the dilapidated housing meeting, which I believe was last Friday, hearing what the mayor said that he wanted that entire sheet done, what does that do for your amounts with what he requested to be done?
I'm working with Michelle and finance on trying to figure out some of the projects that we have in there utilizing the nuisance bonds. We may be switching to TIF to free up those nuisance bonds for areas outside of the TIF, and that's where we're trying to add another 10 to 19 demolitions this year still.
Okay, and do you believe that's possible if the money's there to get all that done?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thanks, Noel.
If no other questions, we'll move on to the request. Again, I'll switch it on my screen to the current request. Demolition projects, housing incentives. We're requesting 400,000. We are seeing a larger number of infill housing projects than we had originally anticipated, which is great news. I think that means it's more successful than we had hoped for some of these infill sites. And of course, as we just noted, we also have some demolitions going on out there. Why this would take the majority of the houses, we still have some commercial buildings that the city's acquired over the years that we've been working on trying to demolish as well. And of course, those are a lot more expensive. So we believe this would be a fair amount to move ahead with a lot of those demolitions, cleanups, and then more housing programs for the city. Martin Road tax increment, 200,000. Again, we are working on creating shovel-ready lots in this area, as well as acquiring more land for the city to offer for projects. We're seeing a good amount of activity in this area, and we'd like to continue that momentum by creating these shovel-ready lots. Downtown development plan, the 80,000 is essentially what we pay a Vanderwall contract on a given year. For them to continue to help us to lay out specific project sites, layouts, planning information. And we think that that's vital. Continue that to see if we can do that in 1 second. Seth, did you get that email from Sydney looking for a Zoom link? I apologize, everyone. Seth, I'm going to send it to you so you can send it to her while I do this. Sorry about that, everybody. So downtown development plan. RAF TIF. The city has continued to work. Obviously, this is one of our bigger brownfield areas in the city. Since the RAF packing plant closed, the city, of course, took possession of a number of the properties. So we're continuing to work on this area to basically recreate that employment base down there, as well as create some compatible land uses with the residential, with the commercial, with the industrial. So it's a challenging area to work in, but I think we're seeing some good interest in the area, specifically in the smaller lots on the west side, but also at the former RAF campus. We are looking at some potential large projects there, and we're contemplating the need for additional bond funds that would be repaid through the TIF over time. And I'll put together some charts for everybody to look at those to try and make some of these things happen. Downtown acquisition and development. I think we've been successful over the years, the last 10 years or so in terms of going after sites downtown for redevelopment options. We've really helped to recreate the downtown with some new projects. Generally, we go after abandoned and empty buildings first that we think we can tie into other either existing empty lots or just in key locations for new construction projects. So it's kind of a mix downtown with the historic buildings and the new construction, and making those all compatible and bringing more residents and businesses downtown. One of the newer ones that we have, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, downtown parking is also on here. We are working, trying to coordinate the parking lot behind Jameson's, behind Jim Walsh's building. There's some private and some publicly owned portions of that parking lot. So the timing of them working to make some improvements to theirs, and we're trying to coordinate ours with that, so it's a smoother project for everybody. So the cost estimate from engineering on that is $130,000 for us to improve that. That would include the portion behind the Carnegie Annex building as well, for where city staff park. So.
No.
Yes, Dave.
I don't have half of these sheets that you're talking about. I don't have RAF. I don't have downtown. I'm missing a bunch of those in that book you gave me.
Okay. Are your sheets two-sided?
Nope.
That's why. Okay.
Well, that's a problem.
That is. We will get those to you right away, Dave. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and I have to bug out because I didn't get these notifications until after 10 today. So I can only stay for about another 15 minutes. I appreciate the invite, though.
Okay. Yeah, and again, sorry about the one-sided sheets.
Hey, no, the same thing applies to the sheets I have.
Okay, so everyone must have just done one-sided instead of two. Okay. Sorry about that. We'll try to scan those in and email them to you right away, and then also get some hard copies put into your mailboxes if that works.
Yeah, I'd be fine with just the hard copies, Noel.
Okay.
Thanks.
University acquisitions. Again, we are working on the University Avenue corridor, obviously from the public improvement side. That corridor has seen better days. We obviously are working on the creation of a TIF district along that corridor to try and open up the city's options to try and bring some new development there. Specifically looking at, does the acquisition of some of these empty buildings make sense for the city is one of the options we're looking at to try and bring some new businesses in. We have the Slumberland building that's empty, the Hy-Vee building, the Kmart building, the Joann Fabrics building is partially empty. We have created some new lot and sites owned by the city along the corridor on the east end. So again, we're working with several of the businesses along this corridor to try and bring some new development, new businesses back into there to eliminate these blighted buildings or empty, soon to become blighted buildings. So we're looking for some acquisition funds to potentially aid us in those endeavors. The Orange School sewer extension. This is a request from the developer that we're looking at. We have done sewer extensions before to serve an area, as long as it opens up a number of acres throughout the city. We did one basically west of Hoff Road before to open up that next segment of Audubon. We extended some sewer to serve the Orange School. This would be another sewer extension coming pretty much from the southeast of where the school is to serve some of those lots. It would be on the southeast side of the school. It does open up, I think, another 100 acres of land on the south side of Orange Road there too. So 80,000. I think the entire sewer costs are closer to 300,000. But we're looking to participate to try and help out to open this area back up.
No, quick question, Dave again.
Yes.
Why would we commit to bond sales for 2022 for this $80,000 when they haven't even come back to council on any of their plans and move forward with this project at all?
And that is something we're discussing with them on that is, hey, if we have a chance of getting any funds here, they're going to have to commit to moving ahead with their steps. And so we didn't want to not put it in there either in case they did move ahead. So we're continuing to have those discussions with them on that very point.
Okay, thank you.
Very good question. The Northeast Industrial Park development, 400,000. We are looking at continued land acquisition and development out here. We have the potential for some land near the leaf drop-off site, as well as some other land east of the existing industrial park. With the control site, we pretty much sold or optioned up about 50 acres of land, which it's a great project. We're always looking to try and continue to have an inventory of available land for larger and smaller projects and lot development. So this would, again, these would be bonds that would be sold and repaid with TIF with projects. And we'll put together some charts on those as to how that repayment would work based on what we know is coming in. The Red Cedar Partnership, you may recall the city entered into the Red Cedar Initiative along with UNI, the city of Cedar Falls, Hawkeye. This is year 3 of a 3-year agreement of $33,000 per year. Adrian Miller is our economic development specialist staff person that goes to their meetings to kind of see how they're doing. And of course, they just did an update to council on some of their initiatives, specifically helping with small business development, minority business ownership development. So we think it's a worthwhile cause, and this would be our 3rd year. And finally, the San Martin TIF District. As you may recall, we are actively working on a development agreement with the Birches for the theme park development that should be coming to council fairly soon. Obviously, Gary and them were busy with some other things as well as we're working through all these different, building a theme park and of course Birch Cabinet. So there's been a lot of moving parts that we're putting together on this. But and again, we have some sheets to show you on how with these bonds being sold, how we repay it with the theme park development, with hotel motel funds, as well as we did change, remember, the classification of the theme park site into the San Martin TIF District, which does have funds available to help make for these repayments. Any questions? If there's none, then our next meeting is at 2 o'clock, and we'll hope to see you all then.